Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. It is 8 o'clock on Monday, the 9th of April. And we're inside to discuss April Fools all April long. Something went wrong in the empire today. There was a cabinet reshuffle, but nothing of sense was done. We take it in stride and we're going forward. We're going to have that conversation tonight. I told you all that tonight's video was going to be good news and bad news. So I think before we even get down into the bacchanal of the day, and while you're all sharing the video with everybody else, because you have to, because you must, because they will cost you if this video, you don't tell them that it was on. But while that happening, let this happen.
Women have gone inside 11 seconds. Michelle Liai is the fastest of them all. She looks relaxed, she looks composed, and this is arguably her best opportunity to take a major title. Is she going to produce Trinidad and Tobago's first female athletics gold medal in the Commonwealth arena?
You all heard this?
Crowd, go silent. We are set to go. The women's 100-metre final at the 21st Commonwealth Games.
You all heard this?
Here on the Gold Coast in Australia.
Share the video.
More than 35,000 people wait with anticipation. Away in the 100-metre final, Michelle A.E. gets away to a very good start. The challenge, though, comes in the inside lane coming from Khalifa St. Fort, but it will be, in fact, the athlete from Trinidad and Tobago. History is made. History is made. Michelle A.E. takes the gold medal in a very good time of 11.14 seconds. And isn't she delighted?
History is made.
Performance from the pre-race favourite. It's all one thing being a pre-race favourite. You've got to stand up, you've got to deliver, and she has done that. And Christina Williams of Jamaica will take the silver medal in a time of 11.21. Gayan Evans of Jamaica, the bronze medal in a personal best time of 11.22.
Give the girl a round of applause now, man. Wonderful, wonderful performance. Make a nation proud. Hot on the heels of Dylan Carter's. Dylan got a silver. Hot on the heels. Trini's representing in the Gold Coast. We're going forward, eh? One people under one flag. Get your flag, eh? There are more medals to come. Great congratulations to the coaching staff and my friend Atto Bolden. You're flying that red, white and black, brother. Not leaving. Freedom don't come cheap.
I see your people creative who must overcome. Make magic from old steel, from rusty old drum. So why should I fear some tears here and there? I tell them no way. No way. Camaraderie so special, like natural instinct. They meet you by the river, is come take a drink. Outspoken but kind, no silent but mine. So forget New York, I'm only on top.
Forget New York, forget Toronto, forget Florida, forget London, forget Paris, forget any and everywhere that you could escape from this mad-ass country, because as much as I love my Trinidad and Tobago, we are destroying it by the day. Listen to this.
Folks, we're at number 10, Area Peter Road, St. Anne's.
You hearing this?
The registered address of the Calabar Foundation. We wish to just remind the population of its history. Applications for funding was made by the Calabar Foundation to repair its building on April 27, 2010. Approval was granted on May 10, 2010.
You hearing?
Mr. Marlene McDonald.
I want to know you hearing.
Check for $375,000, which was the amount requested for the refurbishment, was issued on May 12, 2010.
I'm pausing it because I want somebody to tell me that you're hearing what I am playing, because it's sounding a little soft and I need for you to hear what the man's saying. Are you hearing it? Tell me that you're hearing it. Yeah? Listen to it again.
2010 by then Minister Marlene McDonald. Its building on April 27, 2010. Approval was granted on May 10, 2010 by then Minister Marlene McDonald.
Minister Marlene McDonald granted approval for funding for the Calabar Foundation run by the man that she lies down with at night. And I want to say it just so. Because she man. So you vote for her to go and give herself money. Because when she gives she man money, she gives herself money. When Rowley and Imbert and them play house exchange, they gain themselves money.
A check for $375,000, which was the amount requested for the refurbishment, was issued on May 12, 2010.
Well, you're saying it kind of low. I go fix that. We'll get it for you live. I will fix that. You will get it louder because you need to hear. And you really need to hear this. So give me 1 second. Good news and bad news. Love my country. Love, love, love my country. Plenty of us playing. Plenty of us playing who have the right to talk. Plenty of us playing this game. Discredit those who speaking out. They're attacking me constantly. This is why. Red crapo, yellow crapo, same handful of salt, you know. Who vex? Good vex.
The registered address of the Calabar Foundation. We wish to just remind the population of its history. Applications for funding was made by the Calabar Foundation to repair its building on April 27, 2010. Approval was granted on May 10, 2010 by then Minister Marlene McDonald. A check for $375,000, which was the amount requested for the refurbishment, was issued on May 12, 2010. That check was collected on May 12, 2010. The application for the name Calabar Foundation was made on July 14, 2010. The stamp of the Registrar General's office on the Calabar Foundation's Articles of Incorporation is dated August 24, 2010. That check for $375,000 given to the Calabar Foundation to refurbish its building was deposited on September 9, 2010. Again, this is number 10, Area Peter Road, St. Anne's, the registered address of the Calabar Foundation, for which $375,000 of taxpayers' monies were given to refurbish. This is its state in 2018. And Dr. Rowley, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, has reappointed Miss Marlene McDonald as a government minister.
Now you, come now, man. Come now, man. Talk to me. Because we marching for who could bull who. That we marching for, you know. Government could bull we morning, noon, and night. We have a problem with that. Bull we, man, bull. Pull out and bull we. The two slackest men in Trinidad, the two slackest men in government, Keith Christopher Mugabe Sabga Rowley, the first black Syrian, and Daryl Rumperboy Smith, molester-in-chief, are now the two senior ministers in the HDC. What you think the HDC policy for a house gonna be? Drop your drawers? Or they wake up yet? We want to talk credibility. We want to talk issues. Philip, get him an Obama. How could you get him an Obama? Gandhi would have take off his dhoti and leave Trinidad and Tobago. This place mad. This place mad. This place mad. Kublai Singh fast himself into stupidity outside Sinclair Prime Minister's office to protest. Point 14. But they could rape a repo with impunity. Kublai Singh nowhere to be found. I have a problem with how people in this country treat we country. I want to come back to that video. Marley McDonald, as minister, approved an application for public funds from her man. Say it how you want to say it. Is her man she give public funds to? Where is anybody? Where is anybody in this madman land? Where is anybody in this country to stand up and say, listen, Global Medical Response Trinidad and Tobago asked us if we would walk away from the lawsuit that they initiate against me. I tell him, you drop your lawsuit, partner. I have nothing to say. But if you take me to court, I am going to bring every single minister of health that has ever spoken into the Hansard about the state of that company and the contract to provide ambulances. And I will bring every family member who is willing to come and testify, who will give the country information about family members who have died waiting on an ambulance. When they're talking about Philip, not Obama enough, you don't need an Obama in Trinidad. You need somebody to go after these mocking pretenders, these wolves in wolf clothing, PNM and UNC. Kamala Prasad Bisesa and her bandit clan can't talk, you know. They can't talk, they mum, because they know if them start to talk, Rowley start to talk. Because Rowley know where Kamala have she slackness and Kamala know where Rowley have the slackness. So we pretended you slack for 5 days, and then we gonna let she slack for 5 days, and then you come back and slack some more. That's what is going on. When I was small, a little boy, they had a joke about this prison in Germany. And the prisoners was rioting. And they were rioting because for 4 years, they didn't get to do no laundry. For 4 years, they were in the same drawers. So they want to riot for drawers. They want a change. They want a change of underwear. So the commandant called a meeting. And he said, I have good news and bad news. The good news is everybody getting a change of underwear. The crowd erupt in jubilation. The bad news, you change with you change with you, and you change with you. That's what Rowley do all of today. That's what Rowley do all of today. Shelley Das man Randall Mitchell, failed Minister of Housing, is now the Minister of Tourism. Because if you fail in the housing ministry, wait, let me get the link for the list properly. Because I don't want to type myself. When I hear it, I say, well, they're mad. This can't be what's going on in the country. You can't play musical chairs with our ministries. And I'm giving you the official release. Remove Randall Mitchell failed housing minister is now going into tourism, where Shamfa Kujo failed. Failed tourism minister Shamfa Kujo is now minister of sport. And the failed sport minister is now the minister of housing. You change draws with you change draws. Keith Rowley hit the entire PNM a collective backhand slap today. Mugabe, Sabga Rowley, the first black Syrian, give the country a middle finger today. And Kamala can't talk. Kamala can't talk. The UNC Women's Arm up in a outrage that you have fired Daryl Smith. But the UNC still have Ramadas Singh, Gopi Singh, and Sharma. So Kamala and the UNC Women's Arm can't talk. But the PNM Women's Arm up in an uproar that of Kamala and Cambridge Analytica that Kamala should step down. But the PNM Women's Arm ain't talking about the PNM ministers who romping their way through all them women, every minister, marriage mashup. Them romping. They have nothing to say on Camille Robinson Regis. Auntie Tom. You know what's her Uncle Tom? She's an Auntie Tom. Auntie Tom in chief. Every time one of them molests somebody, Camille has had her come out. I don't mind wearing skirts around them, you know. I think Camille begging for a molest. I think that's what's going on. Because she lying to people. You cannot tell the nation that Daryl Smith molesting one of his staff members and having to take taxpayers' funds to pay off the molestation charge is not news. That is top story news, Camille. Like your two children that our taxpayers' funds through the credit card paid for the fertility treatments. We should know them children. You should, every week, you should come to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and say, look, all the two children. Let me give all the update where they reach. We should know those two children by name. We should understand. That is, we children, we pay for them. Your womb wasn't working until they use our money. And I want to be that disgusting. Because Trinidadians do not understand still their role in the conversation. Them still talking about who have a right to talk. Listen to me. You're sitting down in a car and the driver can't drive. Pull over, driver. It's not close your eyes and block your ears and make excuses in your mind. Well, maybe the driver used to be able to drive good and maybe you'll catch yourself or she'll catch yourself and go on the road. That's not the game. The game is to stand up and say, hey, I ain't signed up for that. I ain't signed up for that. When I left the Congress of the People over the UNC, over the COP joining back with the bandit UNC, I left. And it is one morning, Vernon de Lima looked into the screen. He was being interviewed by Fazir Mohammed. And Vernon de Lima looked into the camera and he said, Madam Prime Minister, the people did not vote for that. I went back and joined back the party. And I went and helped Vernon de Lima campaign. And I wanted him to become the political leader of the COP. Because Winston Dukaran was only interested in promoting himself. And those who are Dukaran fans, them who didn't want to stop. You see, I used to go to Congress of the People, National Council, and listen to the bullshit. This former party that was all about fixing Trinidad and Tobago. Now everybody wants to fix themselves, their friend, and their family. The entire National Council meeting is all about how come we ain't getting UNC eating and COP not eating. How them get ministry and we ain't get ministry. Them get state board and we ain't get state board. That is what the Congress of the People reduced itself to. And when Vernon de Lima was unsuccessful, we left again. We left again. Those who left the COP after the People's Partnership lost, them on bullshit. Them riding party in power. Wherever, however, whoever, whenever, whyever you could get yourself an advantage, that's what they think politics for. So ignore them. Those are trolls. Those are real political trolls. True talk. Sex for House program going on launch. And then go have a poster. Then go tell you bend down and touch your toes and show you that. But trust me, it will advance your cause. All of a sudden, husbands sending their wives. You go and do the application. You go and do the application. But instead of paying attention to this, the Bible thumpers come out in tongue. And this is why I tell you all from the start. From a year ago, I tell you, they ain't gonna vote for me, you know. Because I too straight. I just cut this thing too straight. All you come out. Like the women's arm, PNM women's arm, UNC women's arm. When it's bullshit time, they're there with you, you know. Anything that actually matters to women, like womantra, whatever the name is. Womantra, PNM's women's arm, UNC women's arm. Same bullshit, you know. Women are not represented by those three organizations, you know. Them just there to promote themselves and promote their own agenda. This have nothing really to do with women. So when something happens and they get on board, I just get off that ship quick. The Bible thumpers, and I asked them today, I say, I wonder how those touting Christian rhetoric, because I realize in my news feed, all the bull and talk reflecting the Bible. The Bible said no bull. That's what it said. They quoting chapter and verse where the Bible said no bull nobody. Now listen, I'm a liberal guy, and I will tell you, what you want to do with who, don't matter to me. What 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people do in the privacy of their own bedroom is not my concern. If you invite me, if you're pretty, well, we'll talk that another time. But you can't be so freaking hypocritical in this hypersexualized nation. You can't be. You can't pretend that this country that has sold 50,000 tongues 40 days before Lent. 50,000 tongues in tongue. 3 months before, they get in their pudenda, waxed and in shape for display and gyration. How could you be that bipolar as a nation and be so hypersexualized and then pretend to be holy? Farewell to the flesh doesn't mean bull everybody in tongue, but that's what our carnival became. And we had to be honest. We have to be absolutely, completely and totally honest. We'll deal with that. I said today, because you see, the issue of those people who want to express their sexuality, how they want to express their sexuality, is none of your blasted business. I know many homosexuals, lesbians, weirdos of whatever rank, and they're all good and decent people. And I know Christian people, front pew sitters, putting out 2 blues in the collection box, come outside and blowing the horn and revving, because Christ obviously preached impatience and total intolerance. We are hypocrites. We are a nation of hypocrites. We profess our hypocrisy for everybody to see. And you know what? You know what always strikes me as odd? The people that fight in other people's sex life, they don't want you to know what they're doing, you know. 9 times out of 10, they're sick, you know. Them invent. I have friends, let me tell you something. I have friends who tell me stories from casualty in our hospital. Listen. People in this country, real slack. If you know any doctors, ask them how many things they've had to remove from people's genitalia. How many times people end up in the hospital with all kind of things. 2 people, I don't want to call the name, it involved, you know, the cardboard roll. Listen now, this is a soca star. Only know this person, you know. You know the cardboard roll that's hold the bounty hand towel together? That, a hamster and a lighter. It involved that. And end up in the hospital because there was a small fire trying to find the hamster. This country need to get itself back on track. Forget who bullying who. Focus on the government and bullying we every day. I told Trinidadians, I put out a video. Everything you buy, every single thing you buy, every US dollar that it costs, the banks in Trinidad and Tobago took 77 cents. TT. Work that out for a car. Work that out for a car. That is an unofficial tax. If you spend 100,000 US dollars on a car, the bank takes 7,700 TT dollars as a tax that they're not allowed to take. But all they need to do is keep financing the PNM and the UNC, and they could get away with that. People come on my wall to talk bullshit about that is the spread that exists anywhere. I tell them, you show me anywhere in the world a country whose national currency costs 13% for any foreign currency. You show me that. You show me a country whose national currency don't travel. Our currency don't travel, you know. It don't travel. Our currency don't leave Trinidad. The only purpose of our currency is so that the banks could make money on that spread. If you go to the bank with a US check and you want US cash, I get a check from Google every couple months for the business that I do, one of the businesses that I do. And I get a check from Google, one of the biggest companies in the world, every couple months. And that check I have to sell to the bank at $6.01 and buy back the US cash at $6.77 or wherever the rate is. So just to change the check, for every US dollar, the bank charged me 77 cents. A 13% tax that don't exist nowhere. And we're not marching for that. We're not marching for that. Your government, your prime minister, took $3 million that he wasn't authorized to take to spend on his daughter, father-in-law, Maxi Coffee, brain dead. He just appoint that man back to a ministry. Maxi hook up on machines in the States. How is Paula May Weeks swearing Maxi in? Is she flying out? How is she? And we're not marching for that. The prime minister spent $3.2 million he didn't have the authority under law to spend on a man who didn't have the entitlement under law to receive. And you didn't march for that. But you march for who bullying who? You have time to waste. You have time to waste. And I'm telling you that. Somebody messaged me and said, Phil, you know, we have a large church-going population. I said, but that is a kind of conundrum because it contradicts the hypersexuality of Trinidad and Tobago. This is a country whose national festival is a 2-day lap dance. That's what we do. A 2-day lap dance. This tiny dot in the ocean has the dubious distinction of being the #1 purveyor of pornography in the world. Trinidad and Tobago. So we may have a lot of church-going people, but them Christian and Muslim and Hindu and Baptist and all them things they're telling you, them saying what they had to say in church and think they could fool God. You believe in somebody who is omnipresent, who could be everywhere, but in your bathroom when you're using the Jergens lotion. And stick up it. I wonder how those touting Christian rhetoric as the basis for the nation's laws would feel if the other religions insisted that their views be reflected in national laws as well. Why not give the Jews, the Muslims, and the Hindus piece of the lawmaking too, in the name of equal opportunity and every creed and race finding an equal place? Yes. How about we ban alcohol, pork, and beef consumption, as well as public displays of raunchy nudity as a start? That way, here every creed and race would truly find an equal place, even in the idiocy of forcing religious beliefs on everyone else. Yes? Perhaps escalating our religiously influenced legislating to the point of absurdity might demonstrate to all those thumping holy books that for us to really live as one people in one nation, that we may have to learn to respect the rights of others to do things we may not agree with, even as we expect them to tolerate us. I am as liberal as it gets. To me, what consenting adults do and to and with each other is no one's business. What grown-ups put into their own bodies do to and with their bodies equally so. We cannot say that the nation's watchwords are discipline, tolerance, and production, but only expect them to have meaning when in our favor. That's called hypocrisy. And ironically, to the Bible thumpers, those were the only people in the entire Bible that Christ condemned, the hypocrites. He called them broods of vipers and empty tombs. He said, "Be gone." And this is a man who ate with lepers, tax collectors, and prostitutes. Overindulgence in sugar, alcohol, weed, drugs, hypersexuality, and violence are all symptoms of a lack of real human intimacy and indicative of the breakdown of society, and marching for or against is not the solution. Until we start spending our energy loving and respecting each other, redeveloping the home, the family, and the community, all the laws we want to enforce and all the wars we want to wage won't help us. As long as what other people are doing does not affect you personally or physically, let people be. You do you. And that is my policy. That is my position. The Progressive Empowerment Party said its position on things like abortion, the buggery law, death penalty, decriminalizing drugs, put it to a national vote. It is time the people understood what a democracy is. A democracy means you have a say. You have a say, not just once every 5 years, I'll choose this jackass. Out of these 2 jackasses you've given me, I'll choose this jackass because his hair kinky like mine. Or I'll choose this jackass because she and me just buy with coconut oil in the same place. That is not democracy. Democracy is not about settling for the lesser of 2 evils. Democracy is not about giving your vote to somebody you think will represent your interests because racially, ethnically, tribally, they look the same as you. The truth of the matter is, race and religion have nothing to do with politics, especially in a country this multi-ethnic, this plural. If we want to succeed as a nation, we have to get beyond the bullshit in our minds thinking that only blacks are Trinis or only Indians are Trinis or Syrians or whites. All this bullshit conversation we want to have and start to understand that every single person born in Trinidad and Tobago have a right to be here. And they have a right to express themselves as long as it is within the law. And if these people, I want to say this, and I'm telling you I know, heterosexuals practice anal sex regular. It is the latest fetish and fad. Ask people, have the conversation. Because you can't say that it is against the law for 2 men, but a man and woman doing the same act is okay. And they had to twist and turn to find a way to make it illegal for 2 women sexually stimulating each other. This is where this country is, you know. We are so caught up in bullshit, in the thick of thin things, that we get lost. We get lost. We had a priest get robbed. They come to kidnap him. That same priest was very political. He gone silent. He gone away. Not everybody have the opportunity to drop trowel and leave. Some of us stuck here. And instead of us putting ourselves to the national conversation of demanding from government service for all of the people, we getting ourselves involved with who bullying who. That's who we are. Are they deluded? Wasting friggin' time. Wasting time. We have little boys in jail for smoking weed that big shots get hold, slap on the wrist and walk away. That is insanity. When those little boys come out of jail, you've made criminals. You've told them that this society don't like them. That the law in this country is not for them. That every creed and race don't really find an equal place. We sing it in the national anthem, but it's not true. Because you've never had a government willing to come to all the people and say, listen, let's talk it out. Let's have a national conversation. Let's discuss it. The Progressive Empowerment Party is starting that nationally this Saturday. This coming Saturday, we're having our first in a series of open air, open mic conversations. We're starting in Port of Spain, 19 Stanmore Avenue from 6 p.m. on Saturday. And as long as it takes to answer questions, you come and ask. Ask our policies, ask our plans, ask our programs. Ask how government works, how politics works. Ask questions about law. Ask questions about systems. Ask questions about the things that you don't understand so that you can be informed, educated, and empowered. Come and be a part of that conversation. But I didn't want to use that to plug that because the PEP shouldn't be doing it. We should have a national symposium on crime right now. And people are supposed to be able to come to the microphone and say. But you know why they wouldn't do it? Because 750,000 people in this country at the very least have been left behind. And that is the crucible of crime. That is the fertile breeding ground for criminals. Hungry people need to eat. Hurting people hurt people. Anger is love disappointed. We are living in a nation that treats some pigs better than others. All pigs are equal, but some more so. And it cannot continue to be so. You cannot organize the entire grandchildren of African vote below the PNM and send that same PNM into office to hurt everybody. You can't do that with the UNC and the grandchildren of India. These two political parties have not only led this nation so far astray, but they've dug out your eyes and raped you. We cannot continue to accept that any of that bullshit is professionalism. We can't accept that as the best that we could do. Look at the 41 in the House. Look at who was reshuffled today. Are any of them, Darrell Smith, Randall Mitchell, Shamfa Cudjoe, are any of those three the best and the brightest that we have? Ask yourself. Tourism is dying under Shamfa Cudjoe. You think tourism will do better under Randall Mitchell? Randall Mitchell is a wet spot. Randall Mitchell don't have two good ideas to bookmark. We in a dark and dangerous place as a country because politics is not being used to advance the people. Politics is being used to beat people. Politics is being used to abuse people. We have people in this country that selling their suffering for pieces of silver, willing to sell their hardship. As long as I eat, forget everybody else. That's where we are. We've lost the plot as a country. You don't know who is responsible. The people for voting the shithounds into government or the shithounds to bring the people back up. So the Progressive Empowerment Party comes on the scene to inform, educate, and by so doing, empower. If you have knowledge, you have power. Imagine this country where literacy was job one. Just that. Just literacy. Because a lot of those people committing crime, you go and you check the statistics. More than 75% of them are committing crime because they can't read. So they can't go and fill out an application form. The rap community in America, I don't want to digress, but they have been used to lead black people astray. This is not my struggle. That is all your struggle. But it reached Trinidad. They came up with this concept called brands. You could sell people a picture It have a word in it, but you don't need to be able to read the word to recognize the picture. And when you see that picture, buy that. That's brands. That is telling the grandchildren of Africa, you don't need to learn how to read. But reading is a superpower. Because once you teach people to read, those who can read take it for granted. But once you teach people who can't read to read, you open the entire universe to them. You have no clue how difficult it is trying to meander through this world without being able to read. And just that, we're not discussing. Alta tells you, we have 500,000 illiterate people last count. Why is that not job one? Why is not making sure that every single person in this country who wants a job can have a job? Why not that? Why are we not marching for the failure of government to steward the economy in such a way that unemployment is at less than 1%? So that all of our people have some opportunity with which to take care of their own needs so they don't have to rob you. But if you couldn't take care of your own needs, all the class, style, moral, ethics, and integrity you have, at some point, starvation will make you jump a wall. At some point, starvation will teach you new skills. How to extract the money that you need to pay for the food that you need from somebody else. We have gone down this road for 56 years. I speak about the last 30 alone. I asked Trinidad and Tobago to look at the track records of Rowley, Kamala, Manning, Pandey. Just look at that. Look at their track records. Forget the politics, the bacchanal, the old noise. Forget who thief what. Stick a pin there. Just look at them as as prime ministers. Look at the parties that they've led. Look at the governments that they've brought to office. Look at the ministers that they've appointed. Look at them. Look at all four. Look at Rowley, Kamala, Manning, Pandey. Look at them. Look at the $1 trillion that was spent. Ask yourself, where is $1,000 billion in this country? Where? Where is it? Where can you find $1,000 billion? Where could you find 10% of that? Where could you find $100 billion spent? I told Trinidad in Cuba at that meeting, the country Panama spent $1 billion US, the amount of money that we spend to fail to get people from Trinidad to Tobago and back. The people of Panama spent $1 billion US over 2 years, put 14,000 people to work and double the size of the Panama Canal. We spend 10 times that every year as our national budget, and at the end of the year have not one thing to show for it. Not one. Forget me. This is not about me. This is not about how I talk and if I just talk nice and if I pretty and if I's a half white, half Syrian, half my mother ass. This is about your country. This is about your condition. And your condition shouldn't be subject to change if PNM or UNC in power. Because the same governance that is required for you to make a life is required from both of them equally. It cannot continue to be that we allow them to misguide us to the point where we think that if I as a UNC and PNM in power is suffering for 5 years and I accept that. If I as a PNM and UNC in power, well, we miss. So we will suffer. It cannot be that we continue to labor on, to soldier on, to pretend that all of that insanity is somehow right and correct in a country where this year we've spent enough money on healthcare alone to ensure every single Trinidadian with the same level of health insurance SABGA have. We've spent that money. $1 billion US. For that money, every Trinidadian supposed to have the same level of blue chip, pull out a card, rest it on the counter, get yes sir, good day sir service that the 1% have. Because it's your money that's been spent and ostensibly on you. But when you get to the hospital to reap the rewards of the money that you spent, your $5,000, you find out that it's an illusion. It's a lie. It's wisp, it's vapor, it's smoke. What you encounter is not, yes sir, good day sir, how are you sir, how can we help you? What you encounter is, they have no more numbers. So when we finish with all the people who take a number, they will have more numbers back in the box and you could then come and take a number. I don't want to hear how you're bleeding, everybody bleeding. It's a hospital, what do you think you come here for? Or you reach inside and you're being attended to by somebody who is speaking a foreign language, and you don't understand why the doctors that we are educating and giving scholarships to can't get jobs. It is an entire madness. I understand that the Cuban doctors who are in this country, some of them haven't been paid a proper salary for 4 years, and they're just here stuck and taking it. This is a mad, mad country where you allow that to happen. And the people to the right and the left of you taking that bullshit too. I'm not asking you to riot. I'm just asking you to stand up for your rights. I am asking you to stand up for your rights. If every parent tomorrow said to the Ministry of Education, until you put security guards to check the bags and the pockets and the backpacks of everybody coming into this school, my child will not be coming here as a protest to the lack of security, because the Prime Minister of this country told the nation that there are at least 30,000 illegal guns in this country. And I have seen enough evidence of people underage brandishing high-powered weapons. And I don't know at what point in time somebody going to trip in a school and bring a gun to shoot somebody they fall out with over shoes, or a girl, or to shoot a teacher who gave them a bad mark. I don't know at what point that will happen. So before it happens, I want to take my child out of that lotto, friend. I want to win that. And if every parent did that, then Garcia will have to stop playing with his wood. Because he told the nation that's his job, to play with his wood. He told us that all day, all night, he's playing with his wood. We hire him to be the Minister of Education to steward the nation's children. You have a situation that is out of control. Jackasses in government and opposition, all of them wasting your collective time, taking money under false pretenses, making fools of the nation. Not one of them have espoused a vision for anything. Clarence Rambarat tonight is still the Minister of Agriculture, and he ain't grow one ass, and he ain't plant one ass, and he's done nothing to reduce the cost of food and thereby reduce the cost of living in this country. But you didn't fire Clarence Rambarat. Keith Rowley, fire yourself. Colm Imbert is still the Minister of Finance, despite having the nation enduring a recession, not employing any avenue of diversification in a world on its second year of continuous global expansion and growth, and not explaining to the nation why when I walk inside Dairy Queen and Starbucks and KFC and Burger King, all the tools and the requirements they needed paid for in US dollars, including the royalty to operate that brand, they get their US for that. But if I go to the bank, I had to make noise for 100 US, or 200 US. You landing in foreign countries at 500 US and measuring how you're going to spend. But jackasses in this country taking that jamming, and you've not fired Colm Imbert yet for mismanaging the economy. Keith Rowley, fire yourself. Terence Dialsing is still the Minister of Health tonight in a nation where our entire health sector has failed, and you've not fired him in your reshuffle. Keith Rowley, fire yourself. Edmund Dillon and his two sidekicks are still in the Ministry of National Security, despite Edmund Dillon being brought up for fraud in a foreign jurisdiction and had to seal the results of the case so as not to embarrass himself and your government. And this nation is boasting 5,000 people murdered in the last 10 years. 60,000 illegal guns in the country. By his mouth, he admitted that 57 of our women have been trafficked. He's not brought one back. And he still has that job. And you in your reshuffle, Keith Rowley, did not fire Edmund Dillon and his 2 sidekicks. Then fire yourself. You don't know your job. You don't understand your job. You cannot make sense as Prime Minister if the people that you hire to work below you can't do their job. Shamfa Cudjoe didn't need a replacement or a reshuffle. Shamfa Cudjoe needed firing. Daryl Smith needed firing and prosecuting for misbehavior in public office. Rohan Sinanan is the most obscenely incompetent and macabre minister of any government that we've ever had. Rohan Sinanan failed even at failing. He is a bullshit artist extraordinaire. And the fact that this nation still is saddled with Rohan Sinanan while people sleep on cold concrete in Port of Spain Ferry and Piarco Airport trying to get between the 2 islands, and you didn't fire him in your reshuffle, then Keith Rowley, fire your blasted self, because clearly you don't understand your job. If you understood your job, the country would be making sense, but it doesn't. You are the Prime Minister. You are first among equals in the cabinet, in the Parliament. Yet the entire Parliament has been reduced to a game of measuring dicks. You all do nothing of substance or value. We have no clue about your legislative agenda other than your Attorney General trying to eviscerate civil liberties and outlaw human rights. You've brought and saddled us with a Baghdad version of an Attorney General who only wants to see dictatorship and calling it law enforcement. Law enforcement, Saddam Hussein style. Every law that Faris Al-Rawi has championed, every bit of legislation has been tossed out by the courts. You have wasted money. You've taken the anti-gang bill back into the Parliament again. We've spent hundreds of millions of dollars debating a failed law again. And the Senate is telling you, this cannot work. You cannot go to a corrupt police service that we know needs cleaning up and give it authority that eviscerates human rights and civil liberties. And the fact that you do not understand that, Keith Rowley, the fact that you don't understand that that is your job, fire yourself. It is time, Keith Rowley, to fire yourself. In the reshuffle today, the person most guilty, most responsible for the condition of this country is you. You should have been reshuffled and fired. You should have been immediately taken into custody and investigated for multiples of counts of misbehavior in public office. It is time the people of Trinidad and Tobago understood their responsibility in of democracy and stand up. The Nike gone, the gold teeth gone.
They want the pocket full with blue silk.
They want the statue drinking full cream milk.
The little red silk is not their true friend. The blue one have two extra knots on the end. So a tag on the toe is now the ticket to hell.
And look where we reach.
Well.
That is where you get for your vote a tag on your child toe. Tell me now, how in this madman's land does the Prime Minister justify appointing a brain-dead man as a minister? Is this weekend at Bernie's party? How does Keith Rowley explain Maxi Coffee still drawing a ministerial salary? How does the Speaker of the House of Representatives explain Maxi's absence since September 2017 without ever having been given a sick leave or a fit for work certificate? How does the Speaker of the House explain herself? Where are we? Where are we, Trinidad and Tobago? Where are we and where are we going? Because if you are not ready yet to take responsibility for this country, take responsibility for it when it's sinking, you know. Don't look to point fingers. Don't look to say it's Jim and Mary and Sally. It's you. Because if you don't stand up and do your part in making sure this country works lawfully, legally, democratically, where the terms and conditions of the Operation Manual of Trinidad and Tobago, the Constitution of the Republic, is upheld. We don't do that. We march for bullshit. We're interested in making all noise for nonsense. All the people who send me WhatsApps of a woman in a bikini with Keith Rowley's head, they get blocked. All the people who send me memes, they get blocked. It's not that I don't like to chuckle, but we're not at chuckle time. We're at a very serious time. And while I understand the concept of shit talk and cigarettes winning the war, we're beyond that. There are people in this country that are starving to death. We have mentally ill people walking around this country, normal, and nobody to intervene. We have a healthcare sector in open collapse, an education system producing year after year after year 90% of the children functionally illiterate, and nobody is saying anything. People can't afford to buy food. People are getting scared. They're fixed income. They don't want to make no noise in case they lose the job. But the money that they're getting at the end of the month, not paying the bills, and they're getting scared. There is a solution to all of these things. There is a way to secure this nation. There is a way to reduce the cost of food. There is a way to make the parliament work. There is a way to get yourself a government that is built on service to the people. There is a way to get healthcare that delivers an education that works. There is a housing for all policy and a no job left behind. There is a way to make even local government, RHAs, Tobago House of Assembly, accountable and functional. There's a way to reduce, remove, undo white-collar crime and bring all the criminals to justice. There is a way. This is how.
Your vote will decide our destiny. Your vote will decide what you want to be. Your vote can protect
our country's fate. Use it well before it's too late.
If it is that who you voting fail beyond a doubt.
They fail.
When you're voting,
And you know they fail. You fire Kamala because she failed, Rowley failed. What you do? Both of them fail. Fire all.
when you're voting,
Vote them out.
if it is the time it's now that
Change must come about. Just as how you vote them in, vote them out.
register and vote them out. If they don't see,
Vote them out.
stain your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy, vote them out. Vote them out with total skull and utter disdain. Let's put our country together again. Vote them out of power, dominate your reign. Let's put our country together again.
when you're voting. You need to hear some of this. Somebody just sent me this from National Security. April 9th, 2018. By the end of 2016, the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force was experiencing a rejuvenation occasioned by an infusion of new equipment, support packages, and adequate budgetary support. Between 2011 and 2016, the strength of the TTDF reached over 4,600 active personnel and over 600 reservists. The Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard saw the induction of 7 large patrol vessels. The Trinidad and Tobago Air Guard saw the acquisition of 4 AW-139 helicopters, and contracts were signed for the procurement of 4 Bell 429 and 1 Bell 412 helicopters to augment the National Operations Center Air Division. New equipment for the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment in the form of armored personnel carriers was in the offing, with contracts nearing signature. 2 years later, the situation could not be more different. The Air Guard's AW-139s have been grounded. Your money bought this, you know. We bought it 2 years ago and now they're grounded. For over a year for want of funds for maintenance. No payment has been forthcoming for the Bell helicopters, and the APCs never materialized for the regiment. More seriously, however, has been the failure to pay fuel bills, leading to a drastic curtailment of Coast Guard operations, as well as a cut in the flying hours of the NOC Air Division. Now, if you have a narco state, and you know that you're a narco state, and you are a real government, you would secure the borders. So the last thing you would do is to allow for your Coast Guard to run out of fuel, and for your helicopters to be grounded. But that is precisely what this government has done. Most recently, there have been severe cutbacks in rations for the enlisted personnel of the regiment, with poor quality of food emerging as a major complaint. In the 2015-2016 budget, some $10.8 billion, US $1.7 billion, was allocated to the Ministry of National Security, while the lion's share was allocated to the 7,000-strong Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. There was ample allocation to the TDDF and the NOC. Since then, and indicative of the country's economic woes occasioned by the 2015 collapse in international oil prices, the national security budget has been severely curtailed, with an allocation of only $7.65 billion being made in the 2016-2017 budget, and even that sum being reduced to $6.4 billion in the 2017-2018. Now, this is a country that is finding $500 million to build an airport in Tobago that we don't need. We've paid Calco between $400 and $600 million to rape a virgin forest, to build a highway, again, that we don't need. Keith Rowley is building a stadium in Bagatelle. We can't maintain the stadiums we already have. We don't put them to proper use. We use them as FEC venues. And he's building another one. All of this money in a nation in desperate need of securing and social management. That's what you hear. A country that has sent billions of dollars worth of cocaine to the world, and our Coast Guard grounded in Chagaramas for oil and gas.
If it is the building, I sought east, west, north, and south. They say where you vote them in. Vote them out. Register and vote.
You can't sell the oil and gas. You can't use it for the Coast Guard.
Rescue the country.
What I tell you?
Vote them out.
Defend that.
They have we.
Defend that.
Let's put our country together again. Vote them out with Calypso.
And joyous refrain. Chip into that boot. I tell Trinidadians, chip into that boat and boat. Run ready, call up your arm. Tell them we vote them out. Red crapo, yellow crapo, same handful of salt. Red and ready, yellow and unsteady. Fire all. Empty the parliament. They start it over. Undo and redo. Reboot the republic. So that you could put a government into office that will fire all of these mocking pretenders holding high public office, making life hard in Trinidad and Tobago. If their policy
Is a fallacy.
a fallacy, a total fallacy, a catastrophe,
If they cannot vote,
and you're seeing so, then your only hope is for them to go.
If it is fabrication, these statements that they spout.
When you're voting,
if it is that frustration, does make you want to shout. When you're voting,
vote them out. Somebody named Smart Pravda just said that I'm a typical Trini. I don't hold up as drag long. Smart, this may be your first time here because I can't remember ever encountering somebody with the name of Smart. But I want you to understand, I know my country and I know that we own the largest pitch lake in the world. Properly monetized can run this country. I know that our Tobago is the most beautiful island on planet Earth, and properly run and properly monetized can run Trinidad and Tobago. I understand that our cocoa is the best cocoa on planet Earth, as is our honey. Our honey is now rated grade A in the world, and that cocoa and honey and peppers, which is number 2 hottest pepper in the world, those 3 could run this country. We manufacture and produce LLB, lemon, lime and bitters, the home of bitters, and LLB could take on Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, a little company in Atlanta, has a bigger economy than the whole Caribbean, and I know properly done that we could run this country. So don't come and tell me what I don't uphold, brother. What I don't uphold or contend with is mocking pretenders masquerading as government and jackasses defending them. If you are interested in a better country, get beyond your racist jackass explaining apology self and stand for a better country and a better nation. Put all of them on notice. Tell them I want a better country. Don't come on my wall and defend mediocrity and foolishness and pretend that you do something for somebody. Kiss my half-red ass with that. If it's you that vote them in, vote them out.
register and vote them out. All of them, vote them out. Stick your finger and vote them out. Them on the system, vote them out. Vote them out in Scarborough and in Port of Spain.
Let's put our country together again.
Vote them out in Comodo and in Laramie. Let's put our country together again.
I answer in a fake profile. I say it's a real person.
People must come first.
People must come first. Citizens by right. None of we are worse. Yellow, black or white. Food, shelter and clothes. Free movement and speech. A garden that grows. And one law for each. I was answering somebody named Smart Pravda. I go to the profile to see. And of course, it have no friends. It have no posts on the timeline. And it have a fake picture. Send them to trolls.
Citizens by right. None of we are worse.
Yellow, black or white. Food, shelter and clothes. Free movement and speech. A garden that grows. And one law for each.
If it is that injustice is what they always show.
When you're voting, if it is that avarice is all they seem to know, when you're voting, if it is their politics is just a pappy show, when elections day come,
All bandits must go.
fire them.
Register and vote them out. If they don't see, vote them out. Stain your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy.
Vote them out.
Vote them out with total scorn and utter disdain.
Total scorn.
Let's put our country together again.
Deal with, confront, face up to the fact that we live in a failed nation, a third world shithole, a gangster's paradise, enabled and facilitated by governments after government after government. That is our truth. That is our reality. Trinidad didn't fail by accident. We failed by design. We've been wealthy. We've been wealthier than most nations could ever dream to be. And this is what we did in our country. And then we have people like Michelle Lee, who went all the way to Australia with the Trinidad and Tobago flag and made us proud. And I want to tell you, girl, thank you very much for the good news. Because it's a nation up to our neck in bad news. Thank you very much for that gold medal. peptrinbago@gmail.com is our email address. My profile is open to the world. Send me a message. If you don't remember the email address, keep in touch with us. If you've messaged and not gotten a response, message me personally. I'll make sure it's addressed. peptt.com is our website. peptt.com. PEP app, 2 words, PEP, that's our app. It's free to download at all of the app stores. 347-4PEP is our hotline. This Saturday at 6 p.m. we are again going to change the game. We are launching the first in a series of open mic, open air sessions. It is a conversation with the people, and you come and you offer and you share and you ask and you come and be a part of this and help us. Help us, all of us, 1.3 million, 1.4 million of us, be the nation that we were meant to be. Trinidad and Tobago could be the greatest country in the world. That should be our goal. And voting jackasses into government and expecting the results from a horse race is not the way to go. Look at Kamala. Look at Keith Rowley. Listen to the bullshit that Basdeo Pandey speaks. I know some of y'all so chained up with fan worship that y'all can't see these people for who they are. Bullshit artists, con artists, took your vote and gave you nothing in return. I want you to look at them. I want you to listen to how they speak, what they talk about. Look at their policies, read their manifestos, hold them to account for their track record and their terms in office. Ask them for their vision for a better country. And when they answer you, if they answer you, ask them why you didn't do it when you had the opportunity. Trinidad and Tobago could be the best, most blessed nation, a paradise on earth. This country, we could have it. We just have to want it. If you do, stand with us. The Progressive Empowerment Party. We have built an organization, a vehicle. It is open to all. Come and be a part of this party at any level. Come and bring yourself, your service, your skills. Come and be involved in the creation of the party. Come and get on board the teams. Come and be part of the management. Come and get yourself into the executive. This is the way forward. Get yourself into the conversation as to how we change Trinidad and Tobago, and change will come. Until we speak again, stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.